friends from South Asia, welcoming all of you warmly to another episode of Talk Dhaka with me, Mishur Rahman. Today on our show, we have a young entrepreneur who is now working as a director of Desh Garments, one of the first 100% export-oriented ready-made garments institutions from Bangladesh, and I'm sure you'll have a great time hearing all about her story. So let's get into a conversation with Vidhya Khan. Vidhya, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So as I was telling our friends from South Asia that you are working in the ready-made garments industry, and it's one of the most important sectors to work in Bangladesh.
Yes.
So what is it like? When did you start working with this RMG sector?
I actually started in 2008, and so it's all very new to me. It's only been about a couple of years, and it's good. It's very challenging, very, very challenging, because of course we deal with workers coming from all different kinds of levels, women, needy people, poverty-stricken, and then we try to give them a job and give them a livelihood. But the challenges, of course, with global economics and everything else, I think I entered the business at a difficult time. It's been a very difficult learning experience, but it's been good.
I'm sure. So has it been difficult for you to actually study somewhere else in a different scenario and then come back and interact with a group of people who come from a very different background? How did you manage that?
Well, I was in Bangladesh until I did my GCE O-levels. So I was here until I was 16 years old. Then I went away I was sent away to boarding school in the UK, and then I did my LLB, and I also did my bar at law. So I'm a barrister. So, and then I came back, and instead of practicing law, I jumped into an industry which was the right opposite of what or how I was trained to become. So now it's all very basic work, whereas, you know, of course I have to use my intelligence and education. No matter, a law degree is a law degree, no matter what you do with it. I guess it helps
in your negotiation skills. If not anything else.
I haven't been negotiating as yet, to be very honest, because I work in the factory. When I came back, my father passed away, who is known as the father of the garment industry in Bangladesh. My father passed away. My mother is the CEO of the company. I have an older brother, and when I said I want to do garments, they said, "Why?" When I finally came back to Bangladesh in 2005. I was working with our other companies, which are more trading companies, so it's more of an office job. And then 2008, I decided I wanted to do garments. So I moved, now I worked in Dhaka and Chittagong because my factory is in Chittagong. How is it working with a different setup? It's challenging. But what I find is that the workers, I mean, a lot of people say, you know, the workers are difficult, management is difficult, but I think it all depends on the art of communication. And the workers we have, they're very hardworking, they're very sincere, and if you communicate with them properly, tell them what plans you have for them and what plans you have for your business in general, then they're willing to cooperate.
Since you joined, I guess, given the government policies and everything, there have been a lot of changes in the kind of remuneration that the workers are drawing from the management in the RMG sector. So did you have to deal with any crisis?
Touch wood, no, not in my factory. Because like I said, I told my workers, to be honest, I brought them, and I do this quite regularly, I got them all under one roof and I said, don't worry, you will get your dues. I am not running away, I am not hiding. You will get what you deserve. But along with that, what I want from you is an increase of efficiency and professionalism, because if my salary is about to increase about 80%, obviously, I want something in return. So I made that message very clear to them. And believe it or not, the day I paid them their salary, almost double the wages in some cases, their production did really increase.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, it's not been very difficult for me in that respect.
I guess it also helps with the fact that your institution is also a very old one, and it's been around for quite some time. Do you want to tell our audience a little bit about how the institution started, Desh Garments?
Basically, my father was a civil servant. He was the first establishment secretary of the government of Bangladesh, and he was also a freedom fighter. But in 1975, he left the government, and he started to he decided to set up his own business. So at the time, he made a deal with Daewoo in 1978 that he would send 130 workers, mostly women, mid-worker level and also mid-management, and have them trained in South Korea at the Daewoo factory itself. So it was the first time women were being sent abroad. They were there, they were trained
for training.
For training, yeah. Yes. They were trained in the techniques of how to make shirts. We make shirts only. And then 6 months later they came back, and hence in 1979 Desh Garments started, and hence it continues.
And this is all because at that time there was like no skilled personnel to manage RMG factory in Bangladesh.
Oh no, not at such a large level. No, of course there were the tailoring shops, and of course people did make shirts and trousers and everything else as well. But our company was 100% export orientated garments factory. Mm-hmm. So whatever we made, we sent abroad. So that's where it was different. And the way my father decided to employ people on a mass scale, that was where the difference was.
So where are the strongest markets right now for your institution?
The US, the US and Europe, but mostly I'm more sort of, I do more of the US market at the moment.
So are there any interesting stories that you have to share with our South Asian audience regarding dealing with the foreign buyer?
There have been lots of interesting stories, lots of difficult stories. There have been times when I have sat there in the factory in tears, because I did not have a mentor. So in 2008, when I decided, no, garments is what I want to do, and it was a very spur of the moment decision. Luckily enough, the next morning I opened up the newspaper and there was an ad for a consultant, a textile consultant, garments textile consultant. I called him up. I said I wanted to meet him. I didn't tell anyone in the family I was doing all this. I told him I wanted to do this. Met up with him. He was German. He still works with me. We still work together. I took him to the factory. I showed him the factory and I said, can you help me sort this out? Modernize it, bring it, make it the next generation factory. And he said, of course, it's what I do. So for 2 years I worked with him, and touch wood, now my factory is doing well. I think my production lines run in a way which is different from the vast majority of how people are still manufacturing garments. My building is 30 years old. Some of my machines are old, some are new. I have workers there who tell me they've been in the factory for 26 years themselves. But, it's been a challenge. And after 2 years, I think I can say that now it's steady. Mm-hmm. It's sort of at a level I can deal with.
So some of the workers who have been working there longer than you have been in this world?
Oh, yes. I wouldn't say the world.
Do they try to teach you?
I think the factory is just as old as I am, so I'm giving away my age on national TV.
Do they advise you from time to time that this is how you should do things?
To be very honest, when I first went in there and they didn't take me very seriously. They thought, oh, let's see how long she lasts. On top of that, my consultant, he's a 64-year-old man. He's German. He doesn't speak fluent English in such a way. So communication for him, with me is okay, but with another Bengali is difficult because he doesn't speak regular English. He has a very strong accent. So I was there with him for 2 years on the floor, moving from machine to machine, from worker to worker. And I was really the HR person. I was the motivator. I was the production manager. I was everything in the factory. I was the factory manager. And I pulled my socks up and I was just one of them.
So are most of your friends also into business, or do you stick out as the most, risk-prone person?
No, I think the difference between me and most of my friends are that, fortunately, for my friends, they have mentors. Of course, there are exceptions, and everybody varies. It depends on the scale of business and the type of business. But I did not have a mentor as such.
But you have a brother. Is he also looking into the business?
Yes, he is. But my mother, who's the CEO, and my brother, who's the managing director, they were in Dhaka, and they do the financial side of things, the marketing side of things. And I had the job of looking after the factory and, just completely turning it around. Mm-hmm. So my work was more hands-on. So while they went home at 5 o'clock or even earlier some days and walked into work at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I was at my factory by 7:30 and I would not leave until the factory closed. So it's been hard. They're very, very supportive. I have a very supportive family, and I used to be a very calm person, and that changed in 2 years. So, they've been very accommodating to my changes.
So do you think it was a mistake for you to decide to come back to Bangladesh and live here instead of a...
Mistake? No. I think what Bangladesh needs is more younger people like us who have been educated abroad, and they have a different outlook on life, on how a country should be, how businesses should be, work ethics, work environment. So if more of us came back, this country would change quicker. As opposed to the brain boxes, it's like a brain drain, There's so many people from so many different walks of life, and they're all abroad, and they're very smart people.